Absolute crazy bloodbath. I went to bed last night. Things were looking a little bit rusty. I woke up this morning and the markets were absolutely down, got absolutely obliterated to the downside. Now, there were possible rumors that maybe Elon, SpaceX possibly sold their Bitcoin. I think this had a big reaction to the market. We are hearing that that's possibly not the actual real thing that happened, but it did obviously spook the market a lot. And the big thing we've got to speak about today is we obviously saw that a lot of altcoins did nearly double digits in the last 24 hours. And a lot of them definitely did double digits to the downside in the last 48 hours. And now we need to see, okay, are we actually in that depression phase? Now, we spoke about that there is going to be a $3,000 candle on Bitcoin 2 days ago. And we said that these Bollinger Bands are squeezing. And yes, we want the bull, but ultimately we lost the bottom. There was massive volatility to come. Now, we have had that massive move. The only big issue we've got to focus on now is we've got to see how much damage was created on this dump. Was this a big liquidation hunt? They're saying this is what, the top 2, top 3 biggest liquidations in the last 2 to 3 years. This is nearly the same size as FTX. So the big question is this a reversal and is this a start to a downtrend? As the market cheat sheet did say that there should still be a possible depression phase. Is this something that gives us direction for the next 2 to 3 months? That's the big question. Or is this a liquidation, absolutely wreck everyone, and then continue to the upside? That's the thing. We've got to see, is this a real move or was it a manipulated move to catch the whole market yet again? We've seen these candles. They do happen at times, guys. But what you got to understand is the previous times, it was huge opportunities. But we do need to make sure that it's not something like this, where it's a big dump off and we do actually go into a few weeks to the downside. Because the big indicators that we are worried about at the moment is we have lost the 200-day moving average and we have lost the 200 weekly moving average. And this is a very big, significant area that we wanted to hold. And if we do not get past this level, this could be a possible 20K Bitcoin. We're going to speak about the scenarios of how bad this could get. Is there, because we never got through 32,000, is there a possibility we have a new low for Bitcoin before we start the cycle to the upside? What's going to happen with altcoins? We do have the dominance coming down, but what's going to happen with altcoins? Is this going to be a main Bitcoin drop if we do go to 20K? How much further down is Phantom going to go? How much further down are many altcoins going to go? Again, guys, a red day, demotivating day, but this has always been a huge opportunity, and let's keep level-headed and let's make good decisions. Massive show, no more wasting time. Let's get into it.
Click, click. Have you heard the news? What? With his finger on the pulse, it's like Sheldon knew. Click, click. When the sniper shoots, we got Sheldon on the charts, so we never lose. Enter the sniper, sharpshooter with visor. Enter the sniper, he marks the charts right. Enter the sniper, he's calling the cycles. So enter the sniper, click, click, click. Time to be dedicated, sniper mode is activated. Explosions in the market are in target, and Sheldon demonstrates. Mirror, mirror on the wall, Master Sheldon tell us all. We got Sheldon on the chart, so we never lose. Enter the sniper, sharpshooter with visor. Enter the sniper, he marks the charts right. Enter the sniper, he's calling the cycles. Enter the sniper, click, click. Enter the sniper.
Yo, Battle Fam, what's happening? Happy Friday to you all. Not the best day in the market, but I hope you guys are good. Let me know in the chat. I got wrecked. I'm buying the dip. Let me know how you guys are feeling out there. Are you tired? And like, just what we say in South Africa is hurtful. Like, are you very over crypto right now? Are you tired of it? I want to know, because again, we have to track the emotions. We've got to see where we're at. And I know I need you to do me one thing. I need you to breathe. I need you to stay level-headed. Trust me, again, this morning, I'm like, another stop. I was grateful for the stop loss. Very, very, very grateful. But ultimately, again, like, why? Why these massive pushes? Why these massive dumps? What's happening? Why does it seem so manipulated? What's going on? How are we feeling? I'm not buying yet. Okay, amazing. Let's look at the levels and look at everything. So remember, guys, we have the 𝗵𝗿 competition. I see we ranked about 12th. Keep going. I'm getting smashed at the moment, but I'm hoping to have a strong rally up. I've been just getting stopped. But I know at some point we're going to hit a possible nice bounce or a nice big short. So we're going to be speaking a lot about that. We got Dil here in the house. We're going to bring Dil up. We got the chart guys. What's happening? How we doing?
Howdy, glad to see you. Thanks for having me.
Nice to see you. Nice to see you, brother. I'm going to bring you on shortly and get your views of what's happening right now. Is this the end of crypto?
Yeah,
a lot of stuff to speak about. Nice timing. Great timing. Guys, remember to smash the subscribe button if you're brand new to the channel. Smash the like button if you enjoy the content. Yes, not always the best time on the market, but we're here every single day and we're going to get through this, guys. We're going to get through this, everything that's happening at the moment. So let's quickly speak about Bitcoin. Massive concerns at the moment as we really got a big push to the downside and we started to lose major areas. So this is a big concern because we wanted to know, was the time done, of Bitcoin between the 15 and 20K region? Was the low in? And I think that was a big thing that we focused on this year. And we started off great. We started off the beginning of January, literally from the 1st of January. We started off this great uptrend to the upside. We had these 3 waves. So I know a lot of people that do it, Elliott waves and things like that. This should be an end possibly of this push. But what we did is we tracked this with the trend line and we said, guys, the only time we worry about going back to those lows is if we lose this trend line. And now we're here, the day is here that we've lost the trend line. And you can see how quickly price accelerated as soon as we started to lose the major trend line, how we started to shoot big to the downside. Now, the 3 big problems that we're facing at the moment is the first one is the losing of the major trend line on Bitcoin. The second one is losing the 200-day moving average. The third one is losing the 200 weekly moving average. Losing very key support in these areas over here. Plus what we have, if we go over here, we look at the RSI on the weekly and we're like, okay, it's only just turning down over here mid-range and they're still showing more possible room to the downside. Now, this doesn't mean that we go lower than where we are, but it doesn't mean that we should bounce properly just yet until we're really at a point of a good oversold RSI over here. Now, I want to go back to the original chart of Bitcoin. And I actually want to bring this up quickly because we got to pay attention to this over here. And let me just get rid of the moving averages because this is where it does get pretty scary. I spoke to 𝗵𝗵𝗃 the other day and I was like, okay, the previous rally that we had and we had the previous bull market, we went through the big down phase and then we had the bear rally. We got to the 618 and then we went into depression phase, which is this choppy, very much phase over here. And if you look at the timing wise was when this rally started over here to the upside. It was literally from the 1st or the beginning of January. So you look at the timing wise over here, that's where we started the run, right? After the big down. We started in the exact same time over here. We started in the January phase. We started this up run. The only difference over here was this was a bear rally and it still got to the point of going into a depression phase. But now you're going to take the top of that. And you're going to be like, where was the top of that? And that was around about the July sort of area, around the July month. Now we go over here and we say, okay, we go, look, there's July. So if you look at the last 2 cycles, it's crazy how the timing is doing the exact same thing. Where we restarted the cycle the beginning of 2019 to the upside, we got to more or less the top of the range in July, and then we started the depression phase. And only from around the March or so of the year after is when we actually really started going to the halving and started this big, massive uptrend. So the big concern now is not only are we breaking the major indicators, the moving averages and the trend lines and stuff, it's also matching the phase that this might be the scenario that we're coming into now. And it may have come with some FUD now, but this is the true depression. This is where the stuff gets really hard to stay within crypto. But this for me would be the possible last phase. The only big thing that I have over here is this literally lasted last time from July all the way to March. It literally went on for about 9 to 10 months to the downside. And that's a big thing to be speaking about over here. So I'm going to bring on the chart guy here. I don't know if you want to give a quick intro of yourself. And I'd love to know what you're thinking right now about this possible depression phase. And, is this the end of this 2023 rally for Bitcoin right now? And should there be that slow grind? Do you think that this was just the start of that downside? Because if so, what happened last time was we ended up going very near the low. We never broke the low, but we ended up getting very near the low. What is your thoughts on what's happening right now?
Yeah, so I'm Dan with the chart, guys. I've been trading for the last 13 years. I've been trading crypto since 2017. And yesterday reminded me of 2017 a lot, just in terms of the lack of liquidity and the flush, the magnitude.
Sorry, guys. Apologies. There's just a small echo.
From which side?
Are you playing anything on your side, Sheldon?
No. Is there echo when let's just see over here. Is there echo? Hello. If it's just me?
No, it's just when the chart guy comes on.
Okay. Is there still an echo?
Okay, no,
Have a
seems
chat
to be
there?
fine now. The YouTube comments are saying it's fine.
Okay. All good. Okay. Amazing. Go for it, brother.
All right. So I've been trading crypto since 2017. And as I mentioned, yesterday was a lot like that. And just 3 minutes of 10% move down and just massive drop. And as you mentioned, looking back at the previous price action of the last cycle, 2017, 18, 19, we can get some good insights in terms of how does this compare to last time? Is it similar? Are we stronger? Are we weaker? And there are definitely some major concerns at this point. And if we look at the chart, I'm going to pull up here. This is a rising wedge, which broke bearish. And that's a bearish reversal pattern that shows an exhaustion move to the upside. And we ended up breaking that.
There's still an echo. I don't know why. Will you maybe just check your audio settings there and just see what you're on? Sorry, massive echo. So I got to take off for now. I'll bring you back on in a sec. So I'd love to hear the thoughts over there. So guys, let me quickly bring up the chart and just give you my view on what I think is happening with Bitcoin at the moment. Again, just going with it, quite disappointed that we have lost the support. But now it basically opens up the door to a proper correction on Bitcoin. So what we have, end of the day, we have the region of that 27,500. Again, this was support for such a good period of time for Bitcoin. And now we've literally lost that area. Now it becomes one of the major resistances. It becomes a massive area of where bears are going to try hold that area as much as they can. And now we basically come down to the clock. We come down to the clock for this weekly close. The weekly close is very important for me. If somehow we can bounce in the area that we are right now. Let's speak about what possible support is in this area. I saw on Binance that we literally came down to the areas of the 25K zone. And technically, there is a little bit of support here. There is a support because we've been here before and we had a very strong push to the upside. And I look at this and I'm like, okay, maybe let's try play one little bull scenario, but it does end up quite bad. Maybe there is an inverse head and shoulders that could play out if that happens. And we're trying to look at what kind of support is here. So the main support we only have at the moment is this little horizontal area over here at this point. Now, if we do get a buy up in the weekly and we can close above these moving averages, maybe there's a possibility that this was a liquidity hunt. It was a trap. It was there to trap all of the longs, massive liquidations, and we continue the ride. And the only way that would happen is if we literally clear above the 27,300 this week, and then by next week, we form a green candle that gets back above 30. That's the only way that we could see that this was a pure trap. This was a trap to manipulate the market, flush everyone completely out yet again. I see we have fear and greed that's sitting around the 35, 37. So it's not extremely fearful on Bitcoin just yet. It's not there. So we'll soon see if it was a major trap. So that's what we'll need from the bulls. We would need a buy up from no more lows that we made now in the recent 24 hours. We get our way back up above the 27, I would even say $28,000 zone, and then form a green candle next week that gets past the 30,000. Then that's good. But what I think is going to happen is I think price is going to make its way up. Let's just clear the drawings quickly. I think price is going to go up to go test these moving averages. And I think there's another leg down. So the only time that I said I would be bearish for this year is if I think it's going to be bearish for a possible few weeks. And if we go up over here now and we have a little push up over the weekend and we don't get above this area, I do think we come down. And I don't think that this support that we hit over here is going to hold. I think we're going to go down to the next lower supports. And let's have a look at where those supports actually are. The next major supports for me is the area of the 22,000. It's this support area over here. And then what we have is we have the main Fibonacci line from the bottom wave all the way to the top. That's also indicating $22,000. So for me, there is going to be a slight reaction of the bull to the upside. But if we do not get through that area, I am preparing for a two-wave leg. And what I mean by that is if you go on a very basic view of Elliott waves, it basically indicates that you have these 3 waves to the upside. Let's just draw over there your 3 waves to the upside, and then you have a correction wave. And then from that, you can restart the 3 wave to the upside. So if you take this on the actual chart right now, you say, okay, there I see the first wave, there I see the second wave, there I see the third wave. If we come down, we've now lost, and it indicates a low point over here. Then what it does is a small bounce to the upside and another leg to the downside. And then you could be possibly looking at the next push to the upside. So for, again, this weekend's going to indicate for me if this is an actual real move or a fake move. And again, if the bulls can clear over this level, it could have been a manipulated move. But as things stand right now, I'm pretty bearish. I do think that there is still a push down. I don't think Bitcoin breaks 20K, but I do think it goes below the areas, below the 24, 23, and possibly down to the 22. And we're going to speak about the alts of what that means for Ethereum. Is that $1,000 or $1,100 Ethereum? Is that another $16 Solana? Is that a 55-cent Doge? There's a lot to speak about. Let's get chart guys back on and see if the mic's a bit better.
Mic check 1, 2. How are we doing?
Okay, let us know, guys. Let us know. Let us know.
Echo is still there. Shells, I think it's your settings. Maybe 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗓 can take over for a second while we double check.
𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗓, jump on there. You can chat on with chart guys. Sorry, brother. Let me just sort out this echo.
No worries. Hello. Not hearing audio on your. There we go.
How's it going, man? Good to see you.
Good. How you doing?
You know what blew my mind yesterday? I was calling this thing an iron wall. Basically, we had the 200-week MA, we had the 200-day moving average. I had a 618 fib there. I had a trend. For me, it was an iron wall. Are you surprised that we broke through that?
I'm surprised at the magnitude of which we broke. There's been a couple little red flags just in the sense that, back in April and May, we got up to 31,000 and then we broke it, but barely broke it. And anytime you're breaking a level with no follow through, that's a little cautious signal. It's not a big red flag, but it's, be a little cautious because we couldn't push higher. And I'm a trader of everything. So I'm watching the broader market, and the broader market showed a lot of euphoria, a lot of strength, and Bitcoin just wasn't pushing through in any meaningful way. And so pulling back over the last month or so, it was, all right, we need to be a little cautious. And then, as you mentioned, the dam broke yesterday and things rolled over in a very significant way.
Is it better now, guys?
Yes, I think so.
Is it better?
It's better on my end.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Amazing, brother. Do you want to share some charts then? Let's get your views. We've got a lot to speak about. Many coins, there's a lot going on. So maybe pop your charts on. I'd love to see where you're thinking. Firstly, is this a trap? Secondly, do you think this is a start of a downtrend of a possible 20K, 22K? I just want to get your thoughts about, is this just a manipulated, because the liquidations were crazy. Absolute massive liquidations yesterday. And was it a trap, or is this a real move? Is this something that we got to start looking at the portfolio and maybe be making some decisions? Because this could still possibly bring another 20, 30% down within altcoins. Let's see the chart, brother.
Yeah, so this is just the rising wedge. And again, when you break a resistance level with a lack of follow through, you want to be cautious. And, there were no red flags. I actually thought we would get one more push up before that would be a major concern. But obviously that did not happen. And we have to be, as I mentioned, I watched the broader stock market, and there are other things outside of the crypto world that we can be looking at for little pieces of the puzzle. And one of the major ones is the dollar. And not a lot of crypto people are watching the dollar, but there's a very clear inverse relationship between the dollar and Bitcoin, where you can see the dollar's bounced in the last 5 weeks, crypto, Bitcoin pulling back the last 5 weeks. And I'm on the longer term time frames. And if you look at the dollar on the 4-month chart, long term, the last thing that a crypto bull wants to see is for this to be a longer term higher low being put in the dollar. Because if that's the case, then that means that Bitcoin is likely going to be going to the same 4-month time frame, a longer term lower high potentially being set. And I like to use Fibonacci retracements just to help, determine probabilities. And this is still a possible longer term bear flag. A week ago, if you asked me, do you think this is probable to be a bear flag? I would say, it still meets the criteria, but I'm not quite sure that that's the case. But now after today, or after yesterday, that definitely increases in probabilities a good bit. And just comparing to the last time around, we had the 80% plus retracement, which we're used to in crypto. But then there was a multiple 100% bounce. We bounced like 300%. The retracement here was 60% plus. And that created the space for the tightening range that then broke bull. And so this time around, the bounce was 100%. It's only, 30% retracement. I need to see the Bitcoin bulls recover from here and head to 40,000 plus if we're going to be looking at the same kind of setup for the long-term tightening range that can then potentially break bull. But bulls are a bit nervous longer term right now. And with the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ, I'm watching those levels as well. It's going to be key the next 2 months because this is the NASDAQ. Could this be a monthly cup and handle? It's a possibility to be on the table. But we have to be cautious because if this is a failure from the all-time high and we're about to, pull back into the start of 2024, that sentiment will definitely impact crypto as well.
So let's speak about that lower high on Bitcoin. Let's say, like, what are your ranges? What are you looking for now? Especially now we started to drop these moving averages, start to drop trend. Let's say we don't hold this low. Like, how bad do you think? Like, what are your levels for Bitcoin to the downside? Let's go bearish. Let's go bearish, and let's see where you're thinking.
So if we break 24/7, and even if we hold it, then it can possibly be a head and shoulders type of pattern that we got to be cautious of. But if we break 24/7, I'm going to be on the 3-month time frame, and the only hope for the bulls at that point would be, a 50% retracement of the move up that we saw, which would put us at about 22,000 or so, and setting a higher low and changing a longer term trend on that time frame. But again, that's not a comfortable spot for bulls to be in because you're kind of like hoping this has to happen or we're in big trouble, and that's not a point of confidence. So there's a lot that has to shift from here. And again, for me, it's going to be watching the Bitcoin now daily downtrend, which is very clear, knowing that even if Bitcoin bounces 5% from here, it's still just going to be looking for a daily lower high to be that result of the bounce. And again, if we keep seeing risk off in the broader stock market, and if the dollar bulls keep seeing strength, and again, a big one for me, I know it's not fun in crypto to talk about the dollar because it's boring and slow, but watch the weekly chart for the dollar, because next weekly consolidation, if the bulls confirm that weekly uptrend, that's going to be affirming all of these red flags for the crypto bulls that we're currently seeing.
Okay, so you're still thinking the early 20s. You're not thinking 17. Like, the big question is, was 𝗕𝗏 right? That's the big question.
I'm not ready to go there just yet. I mean, every day we get information that dictates, shifting our probabilities a bit, and we have to be able to be agile to adjust with the market. And we get new information every single day, so we have to factor that into our opinions. And right now, another bear break at 24/7. I'm looking down at 22, and we can still be okay. But if we're going to drop down and break 15, in my opinion, you're going to have to see the broader stock market have some significant fear. I think you're going to have to see some headlines associated, whatever the headlines will be, regional bank fears in the U.S. or something that leads to a wave of fear picking up again. Because right now, the 3 weeks that we've been pulling back in the stock market, it's been okay, are we shifting now back to fear? Because there was a period of euphoria to end the summer, and Bitcoin didn't really participate in that euphoria the way that we would have liked to have seen. Instead of breaking 31,000 and going up to 35, we broke 31,000 just barely and then started pulling right back. So again, it's never a bullish thing to break a resistance straight into consolidation.
Yeah, I kind of feel, so I'm just showing my chart over here. I'm also kind of feeling that this is where the bears are going to come up and they're going to be very arrogant. And I think, again, if you be too bearish on this thing, like the bulls are just as strong as the bears, baby, that they can come at any single moment. But what I want to quickly change the topic to over here is it looks like this is, obviously the altcoins have been smashed for the year and they haven't been doing too much. And we've had dominance go up to 52. But what's quite interesting on this dump is it actually caused dominance to break trend to the downside. So this is very much, alts got smashed yesterday, but I look at something like Solana where it got hit and then got bought up straight away and ultimately still sitting around 22. Like, it got smashed, but not crazy just yet. I saw Ethereum got hit, but what is obviously interesting is this is sort of a hit on Bitcoin at the moment, because the dominance has been rallying up the whole time this year. Anytime there was any threat on Bitcoin, that dominance was raging to the upside. And all of a sudden, we're getting some 2 decent candles down on the red. I would love to know your thoughts. I'm not too sure if you trade alts too much, but what are your thoughts on alts right now, especially the weakness of Bitcoin? Do you still think there's a lot more downside within altcoins?
For me, it was a little bit of rotation. And unfortunately, in the US, we don't have great options where we can have confidence in an exchange to be shorting. So I'm pretty much, forced to be looking long in the altcoins, which means I'm not trading altcoins much this year. But for me, it was a bit of a rotation because 2 days ago, we saw a 3-minute flush in a bunch of these altcoins where it was just 3 minutes of 6 to 9% drops on a lot of these.
Smashed very quickly. Yeah. I remember that.
and then we looked at, as that happened, well, Bitcoin's holding on just fine. And then a day later, Bitcoin has its version of that. And so it was essentially a rotation for me. Like, all right, first they take out the alts and now they take out Bitcoin. And so the fact that dominance is dropping is definitely notable because of, as you mentioned, the story has been dominance going up this year. But for me, that just means at least the last 24 hours that altcoins are just not dropping as hard. And that's for me because
which was weird because, like you said, 2 days ago, we literally had Bitcoin drop 0.5% and altcoins drop 6, 7, 8%. And then it's 2 days later and then it got hit. You know what I mean? But obviously, like, what do you think of this whole thing with SpaceX possibly selling? Like, that's the thing. And then now I'm hearing that they've only just put it on there, like it wasn't actually sold and all these sort of things. It's crazy how these news comes, but it feels like this is a Bitcoin dump at the moment, especially the last 24 hours. Like this is a little bit aimed at Bitcoin. And it does look like, money's flowing into alts. But the only problem is if Bitcoin loses 25, does it still remain that? And I think that we just got to look at people that are holding long-term portfolios in altcoins. I still believe this is the phase to accumulate altcoins. I still think dollar costing and in these zones, the uncomfortability of these zones to be building is great. But, if we do have a 20K Bitcoin, does this still mean there's another 20, 30%? Like, have the alts been punished enough? And maybe this is Bitcoin's time to correct.
Yeah, as you mentioned with the headline, whenever you see a move like this, you look around. What's the headline? What's the news? And we saw that SpaceX headline, but then I saw an article that it was out 2 hours before the dump took place. So for me, if something's going to be headline related, the bots and the algos, they all react within a couple minutes of that headline. So I'm not quite sure. The market likes to put narratives to big moves. And so we look at that headline and say,
there's always got to be a reason. There's always got to be a reason.
And as a technical trader, for me, there doesn't always have to be a reason. Markets just perform this way, and especially in liquid. Bitcoin has not been liquid this year. It has not, and that's a factor. It doesn't take as much to drop, and then you trigger the stop losses, and so it's fairly easy to get that cascading effect when there's not a lot of liquidity on the books. But as far as altcoins, if you're accumulating altcoins and dollar cost averaging, just ensure that it's a dollar amount that you're willing to hold to zero. If that's your game plan for, investing or that style of thinking. If you're trading, you definitely always want to be putting a stop loss on or limiting your risk. As a trader, I love to know worst case scenario. If I'm wrong, I'm going to lose this many dollars, and I can already visualize and put myself there. All right, worst case scenario, I'm going to lose X dollars, and this is where I'll be at, in my account, and that's okay with me. That's an okay risk. And so just want to reiterate, scaling in can be a part of a trade game plan, but just ensure that you are always preparing for another 30% drop because we know that crypto can go extreme with the emotions in both directions. So we always want to be on top of how much we can risk to avoid blowing up our accounts.
Okay, amazing. What's your thoughts on ETH? Are you personally liking ETH at the moment? So for me, obviously first lower low, and I do think this is a possible start to a 1200 ETH. I am turning slightly bearish here when it comes to ETH at the moment, because obviously this will play a big role when it comes to dominance and things like that. So I just want to ask you main thing on ETH, and then last thing as well, just within Bitcoin. Let's say we start losing these levels. We weren't getting any interest at 29,000, 30,000. We were getting no interest. I saw with YouTube numbers, I saw with view numbers, I saw just the normal segment at all. There was zero interest. Why is someone going to be interested in buying Bitcoin at 25? Why is someone going to be interested at 22? Like, you just got to look at both sides now. It was looking bullish. It was at the verge of a possible breakout. Like if we got through 32K, 40K was the door open, 45. We could have literally, but there was no interest. And I'm worried if there's no interest now at 25, they're going to go lower and go lower and go lower until we eventually get interest. So yeah, the two questions. What do you think would be the interest? Like why people would be interested at these prices, or Bitcoin going down to these prices? And secondly, Ethereum.
So I think at this point, the narrative is moving on to the ETFs and the possibility of the ETFs here in the US, which would be a big deal if they get approved. And so the mindset is going to have to be of the individual, okay, this is the discount. This is my chance to get in. before an ETF gets approved. And so
exactly,
I think that's going to have to be
that should be the
narrative.
bullish catalyst. It should, hopefully.
And then, of course, we need them to get approved. And a lot of people, the probabilities of an ETF being approved have been significantly increasing as, BlackRock comes into the ring and just seeing people that have a lot more experience with the ETF process saying, this is a good sign. And the probabilities are over 50% at this point. So that's got to be the narrative of, all right, this is our dip to get in before the ETFs are approved. And then, maybe we make our move to the upper 30,000s if we do get that approval. As far as ETH, whenever I'm looking at an altcoin, and we could pull up my chart here, I'm comparing it to BTC. So I'm looking at ETH BTC in that chart. And this is what this chart is. And we could say, Bitcoin has been stronger than ETH for a while. We know that much. But this, again, is a falling wedge, which is a bit of an exhaustion pattern. And so if we can see a break of this resistance level from the last 6 weeks, that will tell us ETH is stronger than the strongest it's been compared to Bitcoin in pretty much 2 months of action. And so that'll be the first attention getter for me saying, all right, maybe it's time for a bit of rotation back into ETH. And as you mentioned, the last 2 days with the Bitcoin dominance drop, we're seeing this chart heading up to test this local resistance here. And so again, to utilize the BTC pairing charts, whenever you're looking at an altcoin, you want the altcoin BTC chart to be in a nice uptrend and to be doing ideally the same thing as the altcoin, where the US dollar pairing's in an uptrend and the BTC pairing's in an uptrend. And that's when you get the strongest move. So if you are looking for a shift back into ETH, and again, the tricky part is, well, does this just mean ETH is dropping less fast than Bitcoin? Or does this mean that ETH is going to go up? And when we see Bitcoin's next daily oversold bounce, which we're going to look for, in the next couple of days, maybe not this weekend, we know weekend volume is dropping off significantly, but when Bitcoin next bounces on the daily, if ETH bounces more significantly, that for me is going to be a signal to start paying more attention to ETH, because I haven't been paying attention to it at all over the last, pretty much all year, because it's just been weaker than Bitcoin. So if I'm looking bullish, I'm looking at Bitcoin instead of ETH. But that may shift here, just as you mentioned, with this dominance drop here. It may be time to be focusing on ETH more, and we got to break this little triple top on the daily time frame for ETH BTC.
Amazing. Someone said we'll tell us when it does buy the dip. Don't worry, we'll go through a lot of altcoin charts now. I think last question for you, brother. Firstly, thank you for coming on. Is the people just got smacked? They look at their portfolio and they see red, they see smacked, they see stuff. What's your biggest, I wouldn't say advice, but what should someone do right now? Should they take a breather and come back and do something when it's a bit more calm? Because a lot of people are feeling like, I need to do something right now. And this might be a big trap. What is your view on that? Maybe they got too much alts. Maybe they got too, like me personally, I'm massive within the altcoins because end of the day, I want Bitcoin. So I'm accumulating an uncomfortable probability, but through the bull, it's for me to bank the Bitcoin. But what would you say for someone they're scared right now? They punished. Should they sell their long term? Should they do this? Like, do you take a breather? What's your biggest sort of,
So self-reflection is key. Taking a step back and reflecting on yourself. Are you in a heightened emotional state? Because, price movement leads to that. And when we're in heightened emotional states, we make poor decisions. That's why most people do not trade well in markets. We have to literally train our brains to act in the opposite ways. We have to buy extreme fear and sell extreme greed. And that's not what our brain tells us to do. So I would say if you reflect on yourself and say, yes, I'm very emotionally heightened right now and I feel, sick to my stomach or whatever, then you're too sized up. You have too large of a position. And it's always about establishing game plans in advance so we aren't making decisions in these heightened emotional states. We can act in these heightened emotional states, but it needs to be laid out in advance. I need to say, okay, if Bitcoin drops back down to 25,000, I'm going to look to increase my position. And then we drop to 25 and then you enact that game plan. But again, I would just stress to everybody, lay things out in advance, both bull and bear case. We all want everything to go up, but we need a game plan if it's going to go up, and we need a game plan if it's going to go down. And having those in advance will save you from making poor decisions in the heat of the moment.
Thank you so much, brother. Where can people find you?
We are all over social media, chartguys.com, tons of free YouTube content, and ChartGuys on Twitter. We're there as well.
Appreciate it, brother. I'd love to do a lot more in the future. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Cool, brother. Thank you. Dill, let's get down to the altcoins, bro. Are we wrecked? Are we going to zero? Like, what are we doing, bro? Let's speak. It's
how messy was
yeah.
that?
So for me, yeah, it's messy. But for me, first thing, guys, we got to take a like. I'm literally taking weekend. I might be doing a show tomorrow, but I'm taking breather. I'm taking breather before just acting on my alt positions. Well, especially the trading. The long term, I'm very focused on like at the moment. But let's quickly speak about a few of the coins. So we had Bitcoin lose the major MAs. We haven't had Ethereum lose the 200 weekly. So it did pop its head down, but it's still above there at the moment. So definitely Ethereum's holding pretty decent at the moment. There is another block of the major trends. So remember I showed you guys the main momentum line of Bitcoin. I look at it at ETH now, and because ETH wasn't growing as much, I don't think it will get hit as hard. But we have not tested that line and we have not broken that line. So it's very likely for me at the moment that I'm still seeing another 10% down within ETH. If we don't get through that 1800, like again, I think that there's going to be a small reaction to the upside. If we don't get above those MAs, it's a real move, and there's real volume that's actually selling into this at the moment, and there's a lot of fear, and it's working. The bears are ultimately winning the short-term sort of thing. But then looking at a few coins, just before we bring up your charts, Solana popped its head through the 200 daily, and it's right above it right now. So it's crazy. Solana's still looking pretty good. If things go bad within Bitcoin, I do see Solana not breaking the lows, but I do see it coming to the momentum line. So again, it doesn't look too bad on alts because they've been absolutely wrecked the whole year. But it doesn't look too bad. But let's say this scenario plays out. I do have a scenario of a $16 Solana if that happens. Now, again, you got to look at it two things. Nice. 80% of my trading portfolio got stopped out. I'm in cash in my trading portfolio right now, majority of it, okay? My long term, I'm focused, and I'm making sure that, yes, it's annoying, but if Solana goes to $16, am I prepared to add more to my portfolio there? And that's a lot of these tokens. Looking at Doge got smacked. It was looking so good, a lot of momentum, everything. It got smacked, came down to 5.5 cents. And what you got to remember over here, as you look at this on the weekly, and it's like, whoa, like this is a very, very major support over here. And there is a little bit down of maybe 10, 15. But again, for Doge positions and a lot of these coins, like I would be looking at a lot of long-term positions and slightly DCAing for me personally at the moment. And I'm focusing on that section before I act on my trading portfolio. My trading portfolio, I'm going to take a breather. I want to see if Bitcoin can reclaim. Otherwise, I am going bear, and I'm going to probably put my shorting shoes on for a few weeks to come. But I think let's roll through a few. Matic on the verge of losing this. If it loses this, 20% down. Doge, 20% down. Solana, 20% down. We look at things like Cardano, loses the low, 20% down, 20, 30% down. Phantom, 19 cents. What did it hit yesterday? 17.5 cents. 17.5 cents, bro. It's insane.
We saw some extreme levels, man. Jeez, I've got a chart for you. I want to show you something.
Is it sound? I don't know. No. Yeah, we've had a lot of sound issues. It's matching with the market today. Let's hear. Talk.
Is it working?
No, still not working. I'll bring out in a sec. And so again, guys, when it comes to Phantom over here, looking at Phantom right at the support. So again, a comfortability zone over here. For me, slight dollar costing, but I am being prepared for death, guys. I'm being prepared for death. Reason being over there is there's a very bad scenario that plays out on a few altcoins. And it's this one over here. It's basically, we literally, and this would probably be Bitcoin going to 20, if not losing 20 and going to the bottom range. If we lose the support on Phantom over here, look at Phantom going down to around 6 cents. Like this is a 60% drop within Phantom. And then we're going to bring up the next one, which is one of the big talking points, is BNB. Now, BNB is at an incredible, crucial level at the moment, but this is a problem, guys. This is a big problem. And we got to be really prepared if this happens, meaning that, again, some of your portfolio needs to be on stop so that you can take advantage if we do have this drop. But if we lose this area on BNB now, which is, it's around about the 190. I know a lot of guys are saying 220. That's not true. Here's the wicks over here, okay, which is the 190 zone. And that's probably where we're going now. If we lose that on BNB, something is possibly happening to Binance.
They're trying to defend 220.
Can you hear me now?
They're trying to defend. Yeah, we can. Something did that. Yeah, they lost it. But end of the day, but the 190 is the big one. something happens to BNB. Now, I'm not saying exactly what happens or something like that, but there is no support on BNB if we lose this over here. And this just gives up, you know, we got to look at the possible catalyst of what could really drain this market if we go down, and what could be a huge, like, how bad could this actually get? And this is one chart that's terrifying me, because below 190, my next support's at 50 to 60. And if we look at percentage-wise on BNB, you know, you're more or less looking around about a 65 to 70% crash in BNB. What is that? What could that be?
The short of the year.
So not to say it's going to happen, but end of the day, like, no, but what happens to Binance? Like, what goes on? Like, what is it? Because usually when we saw, you know, we saw this with FTT. FTT had a level like this, and when it lost that level, FTT was gone, right? No more FTT. We saw it with Luna. We saw it with the Pew tokens, you know.
We know that they're defending the 220. So if
we can't hear you, dog. Fuck. Sorry, bro. I don't know why. Sorry, bro. So again, we like they were saying, we know they're busy defending that 220, but we just got to be aware of this. Again, you know, the FTX created the biggest lows that were the biggest opportunities for you. But again, this is a big concern over here. If something does happen big with Binance or CZ or something like that, you know, this could create a very big drop. And maybe if it does go back to the sense of Bitcoin, you know, I'm not trying to scare, guys. You know, end of the day, I am full bull, but and I'm not afraid of this play that does play out. But if we do look at the last run over here, there was a part where price went down all the way to the areas of the lows. So if there was something to happen to BNB or to Binance, there is a play maybe that Bitcoin does break the 20 and go down to those major lows. So I would definitely, any alts, any main thing that if we enter that zone, I'll be prepared for that. But we do need to know that is the possible cards. I said I'd be bullish this year unless we lose this momentum line over here. And now we are losing that momentum line. Now, what do we do? A lot of people are saying, okay, what do I do? Okay, firstly, to act on today is a massive problem. That's a massive problem to go and just make a big decision on your long term right now. We got to see this short term. There's going to be a short term bit of support at some point, and there's going to be a little push up. And it's going to try attempt to break these major sort of moving averages, things like that. If we start getting there and we start getting rejected and it's not looking pretty strong, there is a part of me that will possibly shift some altcoins, the ones that look really bad. Now, which are the ones that look really bad? Phantom, Matic, Solana's not so bad. There's a few of them that could maybe give us a 50% correction. And those are possibly be moving into Bitcoin and to ETH for that specific time. Now, if I am doing that, I am looking at a point of deploying that back into the coin. I'm just looking at the coins, and what you want to focus on is you want to go to the weekly and you want to see coins that have like these really massive gaps, right? That have these really massive gaps. Now, look at this one as another example, as in Doge. Now, I've been bull on Doge and it was looking really good. But now when it comes to these higher time frame views, any coins that you can mark up over here and you're going to match the next support. So look here, the next support over here. Do you see it shows that huge gap over there? Something, dude, we have to bounce. If I must be honest, with a lot of these coins, you really have to bounce. Like we got to get to the point where we bounce. No, I'm serious, bro. Yes. I can hear you now. Okay. We have to bounce because if we don't bounce in these areas, these plays play out here. Okay. I
need to show you this chart.
Okay, show me.
I've been playing around with the RSI on BTC. And I just really thought this was an interesting one to look at. Look, every time this daily RSI has been this oversold, BTC moved 40% to 50%. Doesn't mean immediately, but we had these moves. So, you know, this time could obviously be different. But what is interesting to me is, look here, we had this one down here. We had that push up. They came back, little fake out down, and then they sent it 60%. So based on that, what I'm looking here, so we lose this, everyone gets bearish, we have a little fake out down there, and then we send it back up. So that would be the ultimate.
You know, that would be the ultimate, because if Bitcoin does go down to 25 again and maybe just lose it, the whole world's going bearish. And that's probably the best time for them to just rocket this thing through the fucking roof, bro.
They're gonna send this thing to 24. Everyone's gonna get scared, and then they're gonna send it right back up. So just like
and probably smash it. So you're calling this a trap?
But when you're feeling max fear at 24, I'm telling you what, I'm buying here again. I bought you last night on that dip. I'm in the comp now. I'm top 40. I bought that 24, shot up. I'm going to buy it there again. Just under. Just warning you. So
Okay. So that's your thoughts. Is there any interesting altcoins that you have over there?
We hit some very interesting levels. Here's Injective. How's this one? It recovered
very
so
strong.
well.
Very strong.
We identified this
Very
box
strong.
here, trend 618. It blinked with that move, and it's sending itself back up. And I've got this trend here. Look at that. It's breaking a trend on the daily already. So this could be just a squeeze happening. But if we zoom in on the 1 hour, you can see there's a trend that's been broken. So I've got my eyes on Injective.
Yeah, some altcoins are so strong. Yeah, so someone says sometimes the best trade's no trade. Right now, I agree, guys. Because think about it. If we go the weekend now and we don't lose the low, and Bitcoin just hovers here around 26, you'll have a breakout to the upside next week. And then it will determine. So there will be trades next week. For now, it's like, just pay attention and just start going through your charts and looking at the alts that just be very bearish for a second. Just be very bearish for a second and just put yourself.
The opportunity was when it was happening. Like I say to the guys on the live with me, you need to be in front of your screen when the dump happens, because it's partly luck that you get the timing right. Because these moves happen in a few minutes, 1 or 2 minutes, and in that time you have to scramble, look at your charts, look at your areas, and get your areas right for the bounce. So there's a bit of luck involved. But that first move, always in these key zones, you get great moves. But then you need to sit back, like everyone's saying here, and just let some structure happen. Let things settle. We might come back to revisit those wicks now. But we had such
because
good
the worst
bounces in such
scenario
good
is you
areas.
panic and you make big decisions, and this was a fake out. That's the problem. You gotta everything looked like double bottoms nearly on altcoins.
But if you were
really
waiting there
is.
last night, okay, if you were waiting last night, you gotta look how high this thing bounced. 20% bounce.
Yeah.
You're just waiting there. You catch that bounce in a good area if you know your levels, which they're all on Discord, by the way, guys. These charts, they go on Discord. We prep these levels for you every single day. So these levels were there. You just pick your favorite one. When you see a dump like that, you pick your favorite chart and you go for it.
By the way, you guys, if you are a trader, I think we must get a link in the description for this shit. This shit's like highly addictive. You see this though? These they're like, what are they called? They called
Lucky beads.
You mean these
lucky
magnetic
beads.
balls?
Bucky beads. Guys, if you're a trader and it stresses you out, like get these balls, because it's like mine arrived today and you sit there the whole day.
I can't stop.
Have you seen Ron? Ron's got like 3 of them together and he walks around with them. Dole, when are you going live this weekend? Let's get the community out there to support you. When are you going live? Dole's doing a show this weekend.
2 o'clock. Yeah, I'm very excited, guys. It's going to be my first feature on the main channel. 2 o'clock tomorrow, we're doing the World Series live trading. I've got 1 or 2 cool guests coming. And then Sunday, 10 o'clock, Sunday morning.
Okay, so Dole's live this weekend, guys. Go show him love.
Yes, guys, I'm so excited. I'm really excited. We're going to look through these altcoins. Maybe we get a weekend pump. It could be awesome,
It could be awesome.
Yeah,
it could be awesome.
About it. I can't wait.
Okay, amazing, my brother. I'll see you later.
Guys, I'm updating the charts. I'm updating the charts in the Discord now. So go in there, look at the levels, but really just take it easy. Let things settle a bit. And let some structure form, guys.
Cool. Thank you, brother. Okay, guys, again, take a breather. Let's look at the markets happening. I got the biggest bear in the world right now. I want to introduce to you 𝗕𝗏𝗄. 𝗕𝗏𝗄, what are we thinking? Are we going to 12,000?
9,000.
9,000.
Revised my estimate. 9,000.
9,000. Okay, 𝗕𝗏𝗄 has spoken, guys. So everything is going to hell. Where's Ethereum going? 400.
No, 380.
Dude, wait, no. This is scary. What's?
Oh no.
No. What's this, bro?
I did tell you to sell the BNB in the beginning of the year, Sheldon.
No, but what happens to Binance? If BNB had to come down 70%, what happens?
Nothing happens. The exchange keeps working, the chain keeps working. Hello, fam. How's it, fam? Everyone feeling okay after yesterday's dump?
No, everyone's nervous, bro.
Yeah.
So what would you say to them?
I'd say
Don't
go up,
rash.
Markets go up and markets come down. At least we're out of that no man's range, and soon people will come back and buy the dip. I've seen this before. This is nothing to worry about. It's just a buying opportunity.
Is it the ETF announcement?
It doesn't matter what it is.
We need a catalyst. We need
a bull market. It's a bull market. Relax.
My trend tells me otherwise now. Tells me we've lost trend.
Okay. Do you want me to teach you technical analysis? Let me teach you some technical analysis.
Wait, let me just draw the trend line so that you have it, and then you can teach off of my trend line. Okay, here and here. So I was bull.
Okay.
I was bull.
Have you ever seen a war, right?
Yes.
Now, when you have a war, what do you have? You have like one line of defense, right?
Yes.
Then you have another line of defense.
Yes.
Then you have another line of defense.
Yes.
You don't just have like one line of defense. If they get through the first line of defense, they can attack your whole country, right? You have three, right?
Okay.
First one, let's go through it. First line of defense is the trend line.
Yes.
Second line of defense, 200
200 daily. 200 weekly.
200 daily. Then 200 weekly. Then
RSI coming down.
Higher high. Higher low. Have you broken the higher low? Not yet.
Yeah, we're not at lower low yet. Not a lower low yet.
No lower low. Okay, so there's still another line of defense.
Yes.
Before the lower low.
Yes.
Okay, and then the thing is, just because they come in quickly doesn't mean that if it can reverse quickly, we're still fine.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
I would agree. If we do go back above 28 this weekend, then it could have been a fake out. Just back in trend.
Doesn't matter if you're back in trend.
It does matter if you're back in trend.
It's still a higher low. Can you calm down? Can you calm down, bro? Wait, hold on. Are you telling me that the bull market turns in one day? One day.
Yeah. Well, look at this. There was one day. It does look pretty bad. Okay, but would you say people, like, for everyone out there, take a breather and we look on Monday, like before someone wants to go and sell their...
There's no rush to buy. There's no rush to sell. Okay, we're not going to zero. There's nothing fundamentally broken. There's no rush to buy and there's no rush to sell. Take your time. We're not going to halve this weekend. We might go down 2, 3, 4%.
That's how you're playing cricket.
Yeah, I'm playing. Yeah, it's Wimbledon.
Okay, to finish off the show, what's your message to 𝗕𝗏𝗄? Guys, have a fantastic weekend. Love you all. Take a breather. I think I'm doing a show tomorrow, but then again, let's wait for the markets to do what it needs to do. Stay calm out there, and we're gonna make it, guys. We're gonna make it. Much love, fans.